I've talked with our attorney before, not about tonight, obviously, but because I wasn't aware that you were going to come. But he has said to me that it's very hard. He doesn't think I can constitutionally keep people from saying things during their 5 minutes. But
when a man calls you a liar,
no, I haven't said that.
Oh, good.
There are rules of decorum for this meeting, and you, as the mayor, run this meeting. Okay. When you believe those rules have been violated by a speaker, then you are well within your rights to do something to stop it. Quite frankly, this was inappropriate. I would have cut you off. I would have adjourned the meeting. I would have taken a recess. Folks, none of you up here have to be subjected to these kind of allegations made during audience participation of a city council meeting. Now, it's your meeting. So if you all want the public to have these free shots at you during the audience participation, that's your decision. But please don't say that the attorney says you can't do anything about it, because I completely disagree with that.
well, I apologize if you feel that it was inappropriate, but I do think the issue was important enough.
If you have a dispute with Mr. Simmonds, you need to take it to the appropriate forum. And it's not a city council meeting. So do what you're going to do with it. Hire an attorney, go to the state attorney's office, do the ethics commission, do whatever you think is appropriate. But this isn't the proper forum for you to take shots at Venice City Council people.
I respectfully disagree.
Thank you.
I think this is the only appropriate forum for doing that.
Mr. Patten, if you would.
The rules of audience participation.
Here's what it says. We are now at the audience participation portion of the agenda. Any member of the audience may come forward, give his name and address, and state any comment or concern that he may have or question regarding any matter over which the city council should be made to council as a whole. Okay.
So again, the comments are related to matters over which the city council has authority or control. Criminal or improper allegations against an individual city council member, I don't think fall within that description.
Okay.
Now, if you continue further.
Yes. Well, actually, there's a line missing here, but I'll read you what I do have here. The matters should be made to council as a whole, not directed to an individual council member.
Now, I think those comments by Mr. Patten were directed individually to Mr. Simmonds,
Okay.
which again I think is contrary to our stated protocol.
And no personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks shall be permitted.
I think those were personal.
Right. No speaker shall be interrupted, and no debate shall take place between the speaker and the city council.
And I think there wound up being a debate.
Well, that was the part I tried to stop.
I'm just saying, those are the rules for audience participation. They need to apply to everybody. And quite frankly, if they don't apply to everybody, then they don't apply to anyone. And I just think this kind of was totally inappropriate. And Mr. Patten, your time is up.
These were not personal comments. They related to performance.
But again, folks, I'm the attorney.
Yeah.
You hire me. I am an employee. This is not my meeting to run. But I really think we've got to be careful as to, I know there's this notion about providing transparency and giving public input and all of that. But quite frankly, you know, it could be any one of you at the next meeting who now has the bullseye. Mayor, you control these meetings. You can call a recess whenever you'd like. If you think a speaker is getting into an area that is completely inappropriate, but you don't know whether or not you've got the ability to cut them off, gavel it, take a recess. You and I can go into your office, we can have a conversation, and we can see how we can address it. I just don't think you all need to sit up here for what you do and for how you're compensated and take anything that the public feels like throwing at you. There are limitations. And quite frankly, I think those limitations were crossed tonight. But that's my personal assist you as much as I can. But again, I don't think it's my place to tell a speaker that they have to stop. Do you know what I mean?
No. And I appreciate that. And I you know, in our learning together, you know, I've been uncomfortable, not only this time, but on other times. I really don't like that. And I even if we sometimes get sharp-worded with each other across the dais, I've tried to ask people to back off a little bit, and but I think probably misinterpreted your guidance about the First Amendment rights of speakers, and should it happen again, and I hope it doesn't, we will call a recess, and you and I will talk it over.
And just for the purposes, because I imagine we're still televising this, I acknowledge the First Amendment rights, but they have limitations, folks. They really do, especially in a public forum, before a city council. You know, you can't just say anything and then hide under the shelter of the First Amendment. That's not going to fly. We have rules of protocol. They need to be followed by everyone. And I think that's enough said.
All right.
Jeff Boone has asked us, signed up to speak.
Jeff Boone, city resident. I'm not here to defend Mr. Simmonds because he doesn't need to be defended in this instance. I do have a suggestion and I have a story to tell, so all of you all hopefully will understand that this, to me, is a significant problem, because that was way over the line. Back when the county commission used to meet in the Terrace building, which is the tall 12-story building, 12-story building across from the old courthouse, the county commission used to meet on the top floor. There was an attorney in Sarasota who used to come consistently to the meetings during the county's audience participation and make very derogatory comments about the county commissioners, accusing them of taking money from developers, just, you know, not beating around the bush, going right to the line. Well, everybody sort of ignored him. In fact, one of the county commissioners would actually turn his chair and face the other way when he was talking. And nobody wanted to just say, that's inappropriate, you can't say that. This is one of the major things that led to this pledge of conduct, by the way. This has been a while ago. Well, unfortunately, this particular person encouraged another person, had to be an Inglewood resident, who had, and I can't even remember now what the beef was, but had this one major beef with the county commission, to the point that he would come to the county commission meetings. They didn't used to meet in South County then. He'd come to the county commission, drive all the way from Inglewood to Sarasota, and berate the county commissioners. And got on an elevator one night after a county commission meeting and assaulted one of the county commissioners. Had to get a restraining order issued against him. So don't think that this stuff all happens. It's not something any of you, you know, I'll tell you that I don't know that it's happened in the city of Venice. I'm not going to tell you where this happened, but I have been in a local government meeting where I started looking for the exit because I was concerned that somebody who was getting very emotional about what somebody was saying about somebody who was very close to them on city council, I was worried there was somebody in the audience who had a gun. And there was not a law enforcement officer in the room. And I'm not making this up. I actually got up out of my seat and started moving for the door. Now, these kind of things happen, and cut it off now, please. And I know, Ed, you're trying to be a nice guy. You're trying to do it the right way. But there could be 100 people in this room, and 99 of them, not all 100 of them, 99 of them probably would have thought that crossed the line, because it did.
I did too, Mr. Boone. I just, as I said, my prior conversation with Bob made me think that I had to... I had to give more latitude than I certainly felt comfortable
right, because
with.
Mr. Anderson's right. It could be anybody else up here. It's Mr. Simmonds today, and it could be for the most unimaginable reason.
I understand Mr. Patten's passion and his concerns, but I did not feel that was a good thing to be happening in this meeting. But I thought I had to allow him to speak, and if I don't, that's good to know.
I don't have a problem with what happened tonight.